Well, hello there. So the time of year is coming up where many people will be thinking about adding trees to their already existing backyard orchard food forest permaculture project, or indeed starting a new one. So I've got a few ideas going on up here, things I want to incorporate into this already existing project, and I think that'll be very nice. So what I'm going to do is to take you around with me. We're going to have a bit of a chat. You can see what I've got going on here, and I can tell you about some hopefully new additions which should be on the way, you know, within this dormant season. So here goes. Okay, so starting over here, so this is a Worcester pearman, okay, this apple tree. Now, hasn't made full-size fruit yet. The tree has been establishing for a few years now, and you can see it started to really put out some growth like that. So a nice bit of growth there from my finger up to the tip there, so what's that, about a foot or so. So I'm quite happy with that. And it's not in full sun all day here, as many of you know. I do manage to grow vegetables down here, but yes, so not in full sun, so that could explain why which has been a little bit slow in terms of getting going, but I'm not complaining, because at the end of the day the main ethos of my channel is for people to make the best of what they've got with regards to gardening and allotmenteering. So here, this is a Tayberry, okay, it's a lovely sort of backdrop, if you will, to the little orchard in front, and they fruit on last year's growth, so should have plenty of fruit on this next year. And one of the best things about these is they come before the raspberries and the strawberries, so whilst you're waiting for those wonderful fruits, you have these to eat whilst you wait. Isn't that fantastic? Now, this is a plum tree, variety Jubilee. Now, I spoke about this before, and I think this is going to be an absolute powerhouse of a plum tree. It's really grown quick, and the trunk here is starting to get a real good solid size on it. It gets more sun than the apple tree. And let's talk a bit about rootstocks. This is on St. Julian A, which would otherwise be known as one could describe it as a half standard of plum trees. The Worcester pearman is on MM106, which is a half standard in the apple tree world. So if you've got any questions on rootstocks or whatever, please feel free, ping them down below, or indeed, do your own research on the internet. So we come to the Lakemont seedless grapevine, which many of you know I'm very fond of this variety. I've spoken a lot about it before. I've got a playlist and I mention a lot, so I'm not going to go too much into it today, but you can see it's really put out some lovely growth. And the way that grapes fruit is they fruit off of spurs that come off of the previous year's growth, so plenty of growth on this year. You can see I've trained it up the fence here, using this rose wire and things like that to hold it in place, and it takes up this entire, more or less this entire fence panel. So I'm expecting a lot of bunches, southeast facing, so it gets a fair degree of sun here, and I'm expecting some lovely, beautiful, sweet, honey sweet Lakemont seedless grapes next year. So that will be lovely. Now, this is a Concord pear tree, okay, I had a good crop on it, lovely tree. I spoke a lot about it in the past, but if you're only going to have one pear tree, Concord's probably the one for you, because it largely is self-fertile. It would benefit from a pollination partner in close proximity, but if there isn't one and you've only got room for one, or indeed you only want one pear tree, Concord is the one for you. I believe it's a cross between Conference and a Comis pear, but please check that one out, because sometimes I forget things. But yes, so lovely tree indeed, and this is on Quince C, okay, which is I think that's a semi-dwarfing or sort of rootstock, and this tree never really has grown that much, which I'm quite happy about, because of where it is. I can't really have it too big, so I'm quite happy about that. Now, what have we got down here? We have got another Lakemont seedless, which is, again, plenty of growth, so next year I'm expecting plenty of growth indeed. So what am I planning on doing? Well, I can't put anything else in the ground here. What I want to do is to get some other varieties, I want to get a little cherry tree in here, but what I want to do is get minarets, okay? I'll talk more about those closer to the time. But what I want to do is put them in pots half in the ground and half above, so which they can still put their roots down through the pot into the ground, and every dormant season I will proceed to disturb it so it doesn't take root. That way it'll make watering easier, be better for the tree, allow it to put some roots out, but yet still give it a semi-restriction. And you know, with a minaret it won't get too big anyway because of the rootstock, etc. But that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking cherries, plums, maybe some more apples. I've even thought about a medlar, okay, but I've got all sorts going on, a quince. But this will all be coming probably in the new year. So I've got to go now. If you like my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe.